Yo, what's going on, people? How's it going? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, of course, the daily series here on the channel, where I reflect on all the big news regarding Chelsea, giving you my thoughts, feelings, and opinions on it. But as always, more importantly, asking for yours. Liam Delap's completing the medical, at least the first part. He's going to sign a long-term deal. Shock, horror. Borussia Dortmund's Jamie Gittens, we always heard it. Is it such an underwhelming signing? Because it looks like the other signing they want to get over the line to go to the Club World Cup. We're going to show some of his stats. And of course, Victor Osimhen's been speaking again. You never know what's going to happen to him. Is there still a chance in the next transfer window we can still get Osimhen? If we're taking Delap to the Club World Cup with Incogn, we do well in the Club World Cup, we make more money for the other transfer window. Could we sign Osimhen? He apparently doesn't want to come to Chelsea. Thank you for joining me as always. Strap yourselves in. Thank you for supporting the content, for liking and subscribing. Very, very grateful for that. And I'm delighted to share with you the sponsor for this video, which is awesome. So do take a second and listen. Friends, I'm very sorry to let you know that your personal details are currently being sold. That's right. Database brokers are selling your personal details across the internet, but don't worry. Fortunately, this video is brought to you by my partner, Incogn, who are going to protect and save you. So yes, your personal details are on online databases. There are hundreds of them, and it's growing all the time because that's how the internet works. It spreads like wildfire, and these brokers who own these databases are selling your details. You're probably thinking, what personal details? Firstly, really important ones like your home and work address, your buying preferences like your personal purchases and stuff so they know what to give to advertisers, personal identification numbers, social security numbers, all the really delicate stuff. And unfortunately, even your family members' details, they'll all be folded up together, linked with you. So of course, this is delicate information that makes you vulnerable to stuff like fraud, as well as even just really, really annoying stuff like loads of different spam emails or even cold calls that make your life more stressful. Like I said, my partner Incogn are here to save the day. They are the solution. You simply sign up to Incogn, pick the person who you want their data wiped from these databases, give them permission to do so, and they will do all the work for you and remove you from these bad databases. Then literally all you got to do is sit back and let Incogn clean your name away from the dark side of the internet. If you tried to do this yourself, it would literally take forever, but this all is an automated process that Incogn does for you, runs in the background, and you can sit back and watch it work. Just check in on it every now and again. Hey, because you're a good guy and you watch my channel, when you use my code FOOTBALL on Incogn, you get 60% off your annual plan. Oh, 60%! Incogn.com/football. Go check that out. Use my code FOOTBALL on Incogn, or simply click the link in the top of the description now. Peace. Thank you, Incogn. Keeping you safe. Lovely stuff. Right, let's start off with Liam Delap. Here he is. The beautiful English striker who's gonna bang in goals for England and Chelsea for the next ruddy decade. David Ornstein writes, of course, we have reached an agreement on personal terms. We already got the here we go, 30 million quid release clause, good value. We know this, we've spoken about this. He will sign a contract with Chelsea till 2031, which is only 6 years. This is my opinion, but I'd put the farm on this being a 6+1 deal, which ultimately represents a 7-year deal for a 22-year-old, a recently turned 22-year-old striker that Chelsea believe will have longevity value. I'm surprised it's not a 7+1, but of course the amortization laws have changed and you can only amortize and spread costs of a purchase over 5 years. But when he costs only 30 million quid, that is, I had to, 6 million quid, I had to Google it. I'm a creative, I'm a musician, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not an academic. 6 million quid a year, I think we can afford that for potentially Chelsea starting striker, but maybe not. Maybe not. And we'll get to Osimhen and his words in just a bit. We'll have to see what happens there. Of course, he has been convinced to come to Chelsea over the likes of Man United. A Man United who would have him definitely as a starting striker. But he's testing himself here because, like I said in yesterday's video, old Chelsea gaffer Big Tommy Tuchel did us a favour. And he said to Delap, "You want to be in the World Cup squad for England, the first team? Go play Champions League football." And there we were. Chelsea Football Club, his old gaffer Enzo Maresca, his old teammate Cole Palmer, and he's like, off I pop then. So there you go, a 6-year deal, but I imagine 6.1. 6 plus 1. A 6.1 deal. It would be very, very peculiar. Indeed, right. But we'll talk about Jamie Gittens, and then we'll end on high-profile striker signing. Because we're going to read this article by Mike McGrath. We're going to look at some stats. I've seen on social media Chelsea fans recoil. This isn't Rodrigo. We friggin' got in the Champions League. We won a trophy. Why are we getting these? Look, first of all, there is some Chelsea fans that are like, thank God it's not Garnacho. Because the Alejandro Garnacho rumours didn't go away. Whether it's, the ever non-reliable Sky Sports or the likes of Ben Jacobs is well-informed, well-connected. Of course, David Ornstein, well-informed, well-connected, kept saying, Chelsea are interested in Manchester United's Garnacho. And that struck fear in the hearts of Chelsea fans, though personally, I do think, much like every other Manchester United player in the world, he would do quite well outside United. But yeah, he's not for me, I don't think, Garnacho. And I always preferred Jamie Gittens. Again, I think he's profiled as a sort of really good option as this sort of dynamic winger. We'll look at stats. We'll talk about it a bit more. But let me show you where I'm getting this from. This is from Mike McGrath on the Telegraph. He's saying Chelsea moved for £50 million, which is probably what you'd expect for Borussia Dortmund winger Jamie Gittens. Let's mosey on down through this article. Chelsea are in talks with Dortmund over Gittens and want to wrap up the deal before we go to the Club World Cup. So, unsurprisingly, these would be the Chelsea wanted to make, and this is what Liam Twomey of The Athletic was saying. Chelsea, don't be surprised if Chelsea make 2 signings before the Club World Cup that they can bring with them. Delap and Gittens. Gittens, who's only 20 years old, was the subject of an inquiry from Chelsea in January, and is understood they have approached the German club in a deal in the current window that opened yesterday. It's the England under-21 winger who spent time in Chelsea's academy as a child, good pedigree, has been expected to attract bids of more than 50 million quid with a release clause in about that value in his contract. The deal will command Chelsea's full focus with uncertainty over the future of Jadon Sancho. I think lots of people kind of divided on Jadon Sancho. This is me talking now, of course. He's been a good citizen at Chelsea. His numbers aren't awful. He scored a few high-profile goals. And, he's a good guy. But the problem is with Sancho, no matter where you sit with it, your opinion, the fact remains he's on really high wages. And he'd probably have to do a 50% wage cut to come to Chelsea. Will that happen? I'm not sure. So this deal is commanding Chelsea's full focus. Of course, Jadon Sancho, we've got an obligation between 20 and 25, and if we leave, we pay a £5 million exit fee. I'll reiterate again and again, Chelsea didn't pay a loan fee for Jadon Sancho, so this £5 million exit penalty fee would essentially have represented a loan fee, so it's not like we're losing money, really. If you look at it that way, certainly that's the way Chelsea will look at it. Chelsea have been active in the market early, of course, signing Liam Delap for 30 million quid. Gittens is one of the latest English talents to start their senior careers in the Bundesliga, having arrived in 2024 to play in the development team. A year ago, he helped Dortmund reach the Champions League final, which was somewhat overshadowed by Sancho facing Bellingham at Wembley showpiece. Earlier in the season, he became the youngest English player to score in the tournament. It's pretty good. Age 20 in 75 days when he netted against Real Madrid. Ooh la la. England interim coach Lee Carsley name-checked Gittens in interviews before Tuchel took charge. He also played in the under-21s, but he is only 20. But the Club World Cup has a priority over internationals, which meant Gittens was not included for the England under-21 Euros. Interesting. Dortmund will be at the expanded tournament, probably because they know they're going to flog him, while Chelsea will play against LAFC, Flamengo, Tunis in Group D. Chelsea also, of course, looking to buy another forward, which we'll talk about. And Nkunku's going to be sold, yada, yada, yada. Right, so Gittens, yeah? I do think there's a very, very strong chance we're going to sign Jamie Gittens. Now, before your pants are in a twist, yes, it's exciting to sign high-profile names. And Chelsea, there's been reports from reputable journalists that Chelsea will sell more than 10 players, more than double-digit players. They don't see their squad in need. They see with the additions of Esteval, Santos, Petrovic, Delap, maybe Gittens, we're cool, we're sweet. We're not in a position where we're bent over a barrel, where we're like, give me Osimhen. But if that deal happens, they'll probably be in a financially suitable position to execute a move. We're going to end on Osimhen in just a moment because that's the player everyone wants, seemingly. But I do want to speak about Gittens because he's not getting people's juices flowing. But that doesn't mean he won't be a success. Now, I'm going to show you an understat comparison here of a player that everyone does want. Yeah. And this is a player in Nico Williams, who of course won the Euros, who would cost, I think he'd cost a lot of money, but ultimately he would also, he'd be on incredible wages. And this is his comparison this season to Jamie Gittens. Now, Jamie Gittens is in the green, Nico Williams is in the blue. Now, similar, except creativity goes to Nico Williams, and goal scoring is very, very, very much Jamie Gittens. Now, creativity, I think we're fine. If you look at the key passes and assist numbers of Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer in the Chelsea team, they're pretty darn incredible. Both of them are in the top 5 for key passes or something in the Premier League this season. We have creativity in this Chelsea team. What we don't have is finishes. And Jamie Gittens is nearly doubling his XG in terms of goals per 90. This season he has been a clinical non-penalty finisher. Of course, we don't need to worry about penalties. We've got Palmer. So he's taking a good volume of shots. He's good in the build-up. Exactly, again, just like Nico Williams, he helps the build-up well. He's good. He's a really, really good dribbler, which doesn't have the stats here for dribbling. And he's a much better goal scorer than Nico Williams, who will command quite literally more than double his wages. Let me just double check something here. Okay, so I've pulled up some stats here on their scouting report. Again, I'm comparing Nico Williams because he's the big sexy name that everyone wants. And he's an amazing player. Let's not be silly sausages here. But he'll probably cost, 50 million more anyway than Gittens. And his wages across a 7-year contract will be double, triple Gittens, yeah. So he's a good player. Right, this is his scouting. These are his strengths on his scouting report. This is Nico Williams, as you can see here. Amazing at dribbling, yeah? Dribbling, take-ons, attempted, successful take-ons, shot-creating actions from a dribble, progressive carries, dribbles, and then shot-creating actions from defensive action. Fine. Really good at dribbling, yeah? Jamie Gittens. Now, Jamie Gittens has stronger stats. He's got much more 99 percentile stats, and he's got a couple of 98s before 93. Also, an amazing dribbler. Clearly, something we are looking for here. Carries, but look, goals, XG, expected goals, the 99th percentile, non-penalty goals as well. So he's not on penalties, both 99th percentile. Shot creating action from a dribble, 99th percentile. Goal creating action, 99 percentile. Percentage of dribblers tackled. I guess that's him when he gets tackled as a dribbler, or maybe he's successful take-ons. 99th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metrics. He is in the top 1%. So like Nico Williams, he's an amazing dribbler, but he's an amazing, efficient goal scorer. You can say, oh, one's the Spanish league, one's the Bundesliga, whatever, but he's not. He's a dribbler. He's not a Timo Werner. He's not an Incogn. He's not these players that are just running in behind. No, he's a 1v1. He's a winger. So he's doing what Maresca wants. I'm not saying Nico Williams isn't an amazing player. We all have eyes. We do the eye test, but his goal scoring is underwhelming. We need someone on that left side to score goals. Neto can score a goal. We know Noni Madueke can score a goal. These guys play on the right. Cole Palmer sometimes plays on the right. He's a goal scorer. We've got no goal-scoring wingers on the left. And this guy fits in perfectly to age profile, to wage profile, and profile of a player. He's a dribbler who scores goals. For me personally, if I wanted to throw the bag at something, yeah, I would do it at a striker. I'd do it at a high-profile striker. I said it before. Wingers are great. You know, you can spend £60 million on a Jeremy Doku, a high-profile winger. Pay him loads of wages that Man City does. How many goals has Doku scored this season? I'm just going to quickly tell you. For Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, with Kevin De Bruyne in there, with all these men in there, he scored 3 goals. Doku. £60 million Doku that gets paid really high wages. He scored 3 goals. 3 Premier League goals. And he was a high profile signing. I get it. I get, you know, the dopamine hit from the big names and stuff. But if he's what Chelsea wants, if he fits the bill, yeah, then he fits the bill, mate. Do you know what I mean? All right. So let's talk about a big summer signing. I think these 2 signings in Liam Delap and Gittens will be Club World Cup signings. Get them out there, new boys. Get some shirts done. You know, I know they're not shirt sellers really, are they? But the hipsters will get Gittens and Delap, and why not? It's Chelsea. It's a new player and players or whatever. Look. The Champions League money's there. There'll be sufficient sales money there. There'll be a new negotiated front of shirt sponsor with Champions League football and Club World Cup. I mean, that should be coming soon, right? That will be there as well. And then, of course, yeah, Club World Cup money as well. Now, Victor Osimhen was interviewed when he completed his season in Turkey. He talks about how he doesn't know the future, and he says, to be honest, a few months ago no one even think I'd come to Galatasaray. It wasn't expected. He says he lives for the moment. He doesn't know what's going to happen. We know his story's over at Galatasaray. That's what the reports are suggesting. People from his camp suggested he won't go to Saudi Arabia. I'm not convinced entirely, personally. I think if he really does want the money, we spoke about this yesterday, I think he'll go. But look, the money he got for Galatasaray, I don't, Galatasaray play a few quid, but it's not like mega money. And I do wonder why I wanted to talk about this is because he had a very firm position with Osimhen. He ended up sacking his agent, didn't he? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, after his failed move to Chelsea last summer. And look, you have got Mikel saying, we can just pick up the phone. He's there. We can pick up the phone. He's there. I do think his wage demands probably are too big for as it stands. But what does give me hope is he had a firm position, all, and so did Napoli, all last summer. He's not going on loan. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. Right to the 11th hour, Dries Mertens gets on the phone. He goes to Galatasaray and has a great time there. I wonder... It's not that I don't think this transfer window, this 10-day one, because I don't think Chelsea will feel like they don't need to. They're in a strong negotiating position. They're in a strong financial position. They're getting the players they want for the project. And I know they're trusting the process and the project isn't a sexy theme, but they've achieved their targets this season. So there's got to be a degree of trust, a little bit at least. They'll see, right, Gittens, Delap, 10-day window. Keep the powder dry. How much money have we made? Oh, we got this much for Incogn. Oh, we got this much. We got this much for a sponsor. We got this far in the Club World Cup. Actually, we got a few more quid than we thought we'd be. We're not on any pressure. We're not freaking out. Everything's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about it. Let's see how twitchy Osimhen's getting. Let's see if Mikel's got on the phone to him again. How you feeling, mate? You know, do you want to come over? Do you want to make that compromise? Do you? And look, we will simply not pay the £350,000 a week for him just so he gets his after tax money. We simply won't do that. We won't, because I know we gave Lukaku that, but that was mental. I know that Sterling's on 300k a week, and a lot of people are saying give him the Sterling money. I don't think Sterling was on an incentive-based contract either. There might be something where he gets the Sterling money on an incentive-based contract. We finish top 4, you get this bonus. You score over 20 Premier League goals, you get this bonus. We win these trophies, you get this bonus, but your floor, your base wage is still above all the rest of these guys because you're our big sexy number 9. That's how it works, you know. Guys, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Now you've reached the end of the video, do go check out Incogn. Again, I only partner up with sponsors I genuinely believe in. I have used Incogn. I get loads of spam and all this horrible stuff, and since I've used it, it has cleaned up. So go check out that amazing promotion. There'll be a link in the description, or football on Incogn. Do yourselves the favor. Also, it helps me out. I'd love to continue my partnership with them, so I appreciate you guys doing that. All right, take care of yourselves. Keep it locked. Enjoy the football. Peace.